From now on, you have to show more cooperation, because I am officially investigating a murder.
The autopsy is categorical. Walter Jones died from a bullet wound in his back, and not as a result of his fall from the Tortoise Belvedere. With all the doubts stemming from the circumstances, Baena has nothing to do with the death. Nevertheless, I would love to have your point of view on this.
I'm extremely surprised by what you're telling me, Inspector. This means Baena couldn't have killed him by throwing him down from the top of the cliff. But you will admit, nothing proves that she didn't finish off poor Walter with a shot. And her father, old Colio, could very well have helped her.
What were you doing at the hour of the crime, around 11 p.m.?
With all due respect, Inspector, let me remind you that I have already explained myself to you.
If the heirs had thought of inheriting, it seems they're off to a rather rocky start. What do you think?
I'll be frank with you, Inspector. Walter Jones was a man I esteemed and respected. But that Walter Jones of whom I speak disappeared long before his death. The truth is that he lost all sense of reality after his terrible accident. The fact of having become handicapped and nailed to his wheelchair made him paranoid and subject to monstrous bouts of rage. Walter Jones became a predator, obsessed by the idea that his own heirs wanted to deprive him of his fortune. He turned into an ogre toward his own descendants. He did all the dirty things one can imagine. He stopped short of nothing to hurt them. And his last act was to manipulate them, to stop them from putting him legally onto psychiatric care, by making them believe that they'd inherit from him. I knew that no will existed in their favor, but what could I have done? You should know, Inspector, that Jones considered Sonia and Billy to be a pair of good-for-nothings. And if he believed briefly in Marco, in the end he concluded that the latter was a failure too, because he refused to break off with Christina, whom Walter believed to be an unscrupulous gold digger.
Do you know if Walter Jones was wearing something around his neck on the night of his death?
That evening, I have to admit I didn't pay attention, Inspector. But he usually wore a sort of chain around his neck.
Are there firearms somewhere in this tower?
I recommend that you return to the office of Walter Jones, Inspector. Walter loved guns. In his youth, he was a passionate hunter, doubling as a crack shot.
Did you hear a gunshot around 11 p.m.?
I already told you that the storm was really violent at that time, an incredible racket. I don't see how I could have heard a gunshot.
Sure, I see. Not bad, Mr. Jones. The caliber of this ammunition is not the same as that of the bullet that was found in Walter Jones's body. This box of cartridges of the .270 Winchester short magnum is open, and it is missing cartridges. 7.03mm caliber. Just like the bullet that killed Jones. I only have to find the weapon that could have shot this bullet. Ah, a .270 caliber Winchester short magnum. This rifle was used recently. Here, one more .270 Winchester. It's getting complicated. No trace. Fingerprints on a weapon. This reeks of an amateur. The smooth wood of this weapon rubbed against a rugged surface. Strange, Mr. Jones, that a man as careful as you left such an ugly scrape on your beautiful rifle. The wood of the stock is still dripping with flax oil.
Correct match. What was the weapon of the crime? The bolted rifle with the scuffed body and eyepiece in Walter Jones's office is the weapon of the crime.
Killed by one of his own weapons. How ironic. Nice little safari for the entire Jones family. Charming, these relationships between various members of the Jones family.
From where was the shot fired? The shot was fired from the window of Walter Jones's library.
The shot was fired from the window of Walter Jones's library.
Hey, I'm proud of you. Very good work, Jack. From 200 meters in the middle of a storm? Your murderer has to be a top-class shot to succeed with a shot like that.
That's for sure. It's a real distance in the middle of the night, even if there was lightning. He's a master shot.